in a country or state, representing national unity and sovereignty. They may hold a ceremonial, symbolic, or constitutional power, depending on the country's political and constitutional system. In some countries, the head of state may also have executive powers and be involved in day-to-day governance, such as appointing ministers, signing legislation, and acting as a figure of unity and leadership during times of crisis. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong, or head of state in Malaysia, is one of the few forms of monarchy with the elected king. The concept of an elected king is based on the 7 country kingdoms of Sriwijaya and Ayutthaya. Malaysia constitutional monarchy systems allows the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to choose a prime minister but does not remove the prime minister. The selection of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is based on the established seniority and rotation system. The age and length of reign of a king are also important factors, as they reflect the minority towards his majesty rules.
Well, thank you, Shakira. So I will explain more about the function of Yang di-Pertuan Agong as the head of state of Malaysia. Firstly is the legislative function, where that the Yang di-Pertuan Agong in Malaysia plays an important role in the process of government and legislation in the country. As the highest ranking constitutional monarch, the Agong holds important powers and responsibilities in the lawmaking process. And one of the main legislative functions of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is to give royal assent to bills passed by Parliament. This step is an essential requirement for the bill to become law. The Agong carefully studies legislation and evaluates its compatibility with the constitution and the interests of the country. By giving royal assent, the Agong gives the final seal of approval, giving legal effect to the enacted legislation. However, it is very important to note that the power of the Agong to grant royal assent is not absolute. In certain circumstances, the Agong can withhold approval, request amendments, or return the bill for reconsideration by Parliament. This power functions as an important check and balance in the legislative process, ensuring that laws are in line with constitutional principles and the needs of the people. The Agong's involvement in the legislative process goes beyond the granting of royal assent. The Agong also has the power to dissolve Parliament, which begins the process of holding new elections. This function is important in ensuring the democratic functioning of the legislature. By dissolving Parliament, the Agong allowed the establishment of a new government based on the will of the people expressed through their votes. In conclusion, the legislative function of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong in Malaysia is an important aspect of the country's governance. By giving royal assent, withholding assent, requesting amendments, and participating in the appointment of members of the National Assembly, the Agong plays an important role in shaping national laws. This function strengthens constitutional checks and balance, upholds the principle of democratic governance, and ensures legislation is in line with the interests and needs of Malaysians. And yeah, that's all for my part. I will pass to the next presenter.
Thank you, Nur Hidayu. So now, it is my turn to talk about the second function of Yang di-Pertuan Agong as Malaysian head of state. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Arifah Nur Fatiha binti Hanafiah. The second function is upholding the integrity, independence, and effectiveness of the judiciary. The appointment of judges is one of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong's most important judicial responsibilities. On the guidance of the Prime Minister and the Conference of Rulers, the Agong selects judges, including the Chief Justice of Malaysia. This procedure makes sure that the selection of judges is done with care, taking into account their credentials, prior experience, and appropriateness for the job. The Agong's involvement in these appointments contributes to the preservation of the judiciary professionalism and impartiality. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong is involved in both judicial appointments and judge removals. The Constitution specifies a precise procedure that must be followed in order for the Agong to dismiss judges under certain conditions. This authority ensures accountability within the judiciary and protects against judicial misconduct or integrity violations. Last but not least, the Agong has the role in resolution of specific legal disputes inside the judicial system. The Agong may be approached for advice or judgment in cases where constitutional questions emerge. This duty emphasizes the Agong's status as the Constitution's protector and guarantor of its legitimacy. Next, we may proceed to Alia.
Thank you, Arifa. So this is my turn to talk about the third function of Yang di-Pertuan Agong as Malaysia Head of State. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Alia Naseha binti Mazlan. So the third function is the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is also the head of Islam in his own state. The 3 federal territories and 4 states with appointed governors. He received guidance from the State Islamic Affairs Council in each state in his capacity. The chairperson and other members of each council are chosen by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. In each of these states, he also appoints the state mufti. The 3 federal territories are under the supervision of a single Islamic Affairs Council. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong also appoints members of this council. Besides, every state also has its own version of Jaqib, various Islamic rules and regulations governing the public and family life were codified into law that is compliant to Islam. Government policies have also been permissible in Islam. In other words, halal. It's important to note that the Yang di-Pertuan Agong powers are mostly ceremonial and symbolic, with the executive and legislative function primarily exercised by the elected government. The monarch role is to uphold the constitution, promote national unity, and contribute to the overall stability and well-being of Malaysia. Next, we may proceed to Shani.
The Yang di-Pertuan Agong is a symbol of the unity. His role is that of a constitution monarch. The extent of his power as a federal head of state is defined in Federal Constitution and a Parliamentary Act, which is appointment. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong appoints numerous high-ranking office holders in the Federation under the terms of the constitutions and various acts passed by the Parliament. The Constitution's procedure for such appoints the Yang di-Pertuan Agong has the executive power to appoint the Prime Ministers. With the Prime Minister's help and advice, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong appoints the other members of the cabinet. He also has the powers to dissolve the cabinet and elect the members of the Elections Commission, as referred to the Article 43(2) of FFC. If the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is supposed to appoint PM from Dewan Rakyat, who is likely to command the confidence of the majority of the House in his decisions. The king has the right to appoint the people wish. If the Prime Minister dies unexpectedly, the next in the line in the party will become the Prime Minister, meaning the current Deputy Prime Minister will become the new Prime Minister. However, for example, Yang di-Pertuan Agong can nominate a temporary Prime Minister at his own discretion and the government's collapse.
The conclusion is, head of state is a representative or head of sovereign state regardless of the monarchy system. They serve as a symbolic of the country's continuity and legitimacy, exercising political, functional, and task powers based on the constitution and laws. In Malaysia, the head of state is the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, the Malay Rules, and the Council of Rules. They are empowered power to preserve custom and the administration of Islamic religions in their representative state. Head of state also carry out various roles, national administration and security with division and other made by the Prime Minister with approval from the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and national rules. The head of state is respected and proud for their rules and maintaining the unity and integrity of the country both at home and in office. That's all from us. Thank you.